Well met, travelers, and welcome to today's explainer. Gather around the hearth because today we are weaving a grand epic of literally legendary courage. We're cracking open a pivotal, frankly mind-blowing chapter from the Far Battle archives. If you've been following the overarching prophecy of the Shattered Veil, you know our heroes barely made it out of the volcanic ruins of Ashwillow. Today we're tracing exactly how this fellowship transitions from the dying, sweltering embers of a civil war directly into the frozen, mind-bending nightmare of a city called Kolovac. It's a journey that's going to violently test their limits, their alliances, and, as you'll see, the very source of their magic. So pull up a chair, warm your hands, and let's dive right into this tale.
From the ashes of the Fire Islands to the frozen nightmare of the North, our fellowship steps from fire into frost. Man, just listen to those words. This retelling actually serves as a solemn homage to the fellowship's former chronicler, the Aasimar bard named Hal. You see, after witnessing the unrelenting horrors of Ashwillow, Hal decided he had finally seen enough of the heroic life. Once the party reclaimed his stolen earring of foretelling, he literally laid down his adventuring gear, humming a mournful dirge as he left the fellowship behind for good. But the story absolutely does not end with Hal's departure. In fact, the stakes, they only climb higher from here.
And you can see the sheer, cold pragmatism required just to survive this world. Before they can even step into the frost, they have to buy their way out of the embers. Welsies, our stalwart dwarven paladin, and Adamemus, the half-elf warlock, orchestrate this highly tactical, icy transaction with the Goliath queen Toxana. Toxana only respects raw physical power, so words alone were never going to cut it. They traded away incredibly valuable artifacts, a volatile hand cannon, a mysterious unopened black box from the Zephyr Vaults, a blue coin of treasure finding, and even a bookie's ledger. In exchange, the absolute bare necessities to keep breathing, winter gear and a magical portal jump north. Oh, and as a final desperate strategic move, they braved a secret pirate auction just to secure a heavy rune-etched belt of fire giant strength. It just goes to show, survival here often means sacrificing the invaluable just to see tomorrow.
This whole sequence reveals a crucial tactical insight about our heroes. Legendary courage isn't just about swinging a sword blindly, right? It's about knowing exactly when to divide your strength for a greater victory. So the party we follow north is not the full original squad. While Hal retires to sing his songs in safety, a dedicated reconnaissance team is quietly deployed to Mistwood. This team, Kukita the bird swordsman, Zora the high elf sorcerer, Azrael the dragonborn, Tucker and Jebediah, they're tasked with incredibly dangerous clandestine shadow work. Their objective? Surveil the defenses of a terrifying beholder general known only as the Eye. This ensures that while our main fellowship heads north, a massive coordinated attack is being planned to dismantle Gormek's forces on multiple fronts. Pretty brilliant, right?
Now, the transition through that portal isn't just a simple change in geography on a map. It's a violent, physical wrenching. Put yourself in their boots for a second. Imagine stepping directly out of the sweltering, sulfurous pressure of a volcanic civil war in Ashwillow, where the sky is literally glowing with furious embers. Then, in the blink of an eye, the magical gateway fades, and bam! You are thrust into the biting, crystalline chill of Kolovac. It's this frozen gloom characterized by a chilling, entirely unnatural stillness. The contrast is incredibly stark, it's visceral, and it leaves our heroes completely disoriented the moment their boots hit the ice.
But here's the thing. The cold actually isn't the most disturbing part of Kolovac. It's the absolute suffocating silence. As our heroes cautiously step into the streets, they realize the local inhabitants are moving like hollow shells. Their eyes are just glazed over, lost in this daze of zombified labor. They don't attack, but they don't speak either. They simply act as drone workers, completely ignoring the world around them, going about their duties in an eerie, haunting crawl. It's a chilling stillness that tells the Fellowship immediately, some kind of dark, psychological warfare has fundamentally broken the minds of this city.
Seeking refuge, they head inside a local tavern, where that heavy gloom is slightly lifted by a much-needed reunion. Debbie, the elf wizard and, master baker of the party, has been incredibly busy. She's established a clandestine network right there in the shadows, and she introduces 3 new bearers of the Purple Mark, the Mark of the Prophecy. Behold the Vanguard's new blood, Robin Cade, an agile human rogue, Percy Jin, an incredibly observant human monk who wields a deadly Kyokutsu Shoga rope dagger, and Dean Scotch, a massive Goliath fighter who communicates entirely via telepathy and swings a devastating greatsword. This injection of new blood brings specialized skills and raw power that the party is desperately going to need out in those frozen wastes.
Yet, this reunion is super brief and deeply overshadowed by a dire warning. Artemisis approaches the barkeep to ask about the zombified townsfolk outside, right?
The barkeep leans in and delivers this grim advice. Never listen to the wind, keep your ears plugged with wax. Plug your ears to survive the wind. It sounds like a myth told to frighten children, but the reality is pure terror. The Voice, another of Gormak's generals gathering power in the northern city of Chronopolis, is systematically eroding the minds of the populace through the very gales that sweep the streets.
And guys, this isn't just some local superstition to be brushed aside. Debbie taps into her arcane senses to investigate the northern gale creeping up through the tavern's drafty floorboards. What she discovers absolutely confirms the barkeep's terrifying warning. The wind isn't just cold, it carries a literal wash of despair and death, bearing an unnatural stench that literally reeks of rotten meat. The psychological warfare of Gormak's forces is making itself physical in the environment. The atmosphere in the tavern grows incredibly tense, heavy with dread. And then, out of nowhere, the fragile peace shatters.
Screams suddenly erupt from the streets outside. Aaron the Ranger is the first on his feet. Right outside their door, two monstrous, 9-foot-tall, over-muscled gray beasts, looking like vicious hounds, are rampaging through the quarter. They are snapping up food carts and tearing directly into the dazed, defenseless townsfolk who are too zombified to even raise a hand to protect themselves. It's absolute bloody chaos. But our fellowship? They don't hesitate for a single second. They charge out of the tavern, weapons drawn, directly into the fray.
And right here, we witness a stunning display of that legendary courage. Aaron, the human ranger, bursts through the door. His reflexes are instantaneous. His legendary oath bow is already thrumming with tension in his hands. He immediately marks the first beast as his hated foe, takes deadly, precise aim, and sinks his arrows deep into the monster's thick, gray hide. Aaron's ability to instantly transition from rest to lethal precision is exactly what makes him such a vital, unwavering protector of this party. It's just awesome to see.
Right behind him is Welsies, the Dwarven Vengeance Paladin, and Welsies doesn't just run into battle. Oh no, he charges in atop his fiercely summoned spectral warhorse. He brings his named great axe, C-3PO, which he'd previously blessed at a sacred shrine, crashing down upon the second beast. The axe glows with blinding divine wrath as he slams into the monster with a crushing smite. It's this fearless, awe-inspiring vanguard strike that brings roaring divine retribution right to the frozen, silent streets of Kolovac. And almost instantly, we see the new and old party members synchronizing beautifully, proving that true strength really lies in their bond. Percy Jin, the new human monk, blurs into preternational motion, closing the distance with incredible speed to back up the front line. Meanwhile, Debbie, perfectly leveraging her mastery of battlefield control, casts a rapid flurry of magical snowballs to heavily slow the second beast. The combined, overwhelming force of this collaborative defense is entirely too much for the ambushers, and the surviving beast is violently forced to retreat, vanishing back into the frozen gloom of the city.
The streets grow quiet again. The blinding adrenaline of the combat begins to ebb. But just as the party catches their breath, a sudden, terrifying change takes hold of Ataminas. The half-elf warlock falls to his knees in the snow, violently clutching his head. He cries out to his friends, "I think my patron is dead." For a warlock whose entire magical arsenal and strength are derived completely from their otherworldly patron, this is a devastating, truly tragic realization.
The physical toll of this severance is immediate and horrifying. Atenimus gasps as his magical strength visibly fails him right then and there. Dark, wispy smoke actually rises off his body and is violently whisked away by that same rotten northern gale. The party frantically drags him back into the relative safety of the tavern. As they lay him down, the purple marks of the prophecy on his skin throb with a brilliant, agonizing pink aura, slowly fading as he collapses into a deep, exhausted sleep. The explosive magical strike force that always backed Welsi's vanguard charges, it's completely gone.
Which leaves us with a monumental cliffhanger. The Fellowship is fractured. Their primary offensive magic has just been violently stripped away. And yet, the rotting wind continues to howl outside those tavern doors. They know that the Voice, Gormak's mind-eroding general, is waiting for them further north in Chronopolis. What you should take away from this tale is the sheer grit required to press on when your greatest weapons fail. With their magic fading and a silent frozen nightmare surrounding them, how will this fellowship possibly survive the journey ahead? Well, that is a question for another time. Thank you for gathering for today's Explainer, travelers, and remember, keep your ears plugged to the wind.